Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, back again with the Toy Room, and in today's video we have a very special guest. We are going to be interviewing slash hanging out and just talking all things retro video games, movies, VHS tapes, thrifting, everything in that realm. We're going to be hanging out with Retro Rick. Now, Retro Rick is an up-and-coming YouTuber, and it's kind of weird to say up-and-coming because he just started and he's already surpassed me. He's been on the rise up. If you guys have not checked out Retro Rick's channel yet, definitely make sure you do that. He's got such an amazing channel which covers, like I said, video games, old school movies, thrifting, video gaming on a budget, video game hunting, all tons of stuff. So shout out to Retro Rick for doing this video with me today. I'll leave all the links for his Instagram and his YouTube and everything down in the description below. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this interview slash hanging out talking session and whatever else it transpires into with Retro Rick. Okay, so I wrote down a couple questions, but this is going to be just like, you know, just regular conversation, hanging out, whatever. Yeah, man. So I always like to start off with, you know, how we met, because it's actually kind of funny, and you know the story, but for those of you that out there who don't know, so there was a picture floating around on Complex of Retro Rick's Nintendo 64 Funtastic collection, and you know, I saved that picture, I screenshotted it, it was an amazing picture, I didn't think anything of it. Then a couple months down the line, McDonald's comes out with these 40th anniversary Happy Meal toys. So I went ahead, I picked them up, did a video on them, and as I do with all my stuff that I review, I looked at other people's reviews just to see other people's points of views and stuff like that. And I came across your video. I watched it, but you were filming it in a McDonald's, so I didn't even realize that your channel was like, you know, retro video game type of stuff. So I did see your video, and then I want to say maybe like a day or so later, you found my video and you commented on my video and then hit me up on Instagram, and then I put two and two together once I started going through your Instagram page that you were the guy who took that picture that Complex took, and it was like this whole small circle all revolving around these McDonald's things. So it's funny how that kind of brought us together. And you know, ever since then,
I remember that. I remember that too, because I looked. That was one of my, like, man, I hadn't been doing videos very long at all, and that was whenever I started asking people, I'm like, hey, how do you kind of like grow in the community? Like, well, you need to talk to people that are doing similar videos. So I went and I looked for the McDonald's videos for that, for those like 90s or nostalgia toys. Yeah. And I saw one of yours popped up first, and then I think I said something to you on yours, and then
yeah, I think you commented on the video, and then you hit me up on Instagram, I think later that day, and we started talking from there, and then here we are now. I've been a fan of your channel, and it's crazy because I think when I found your channel with that whole McDonald's thing, you might have had 2,000, maybe 3,000 subscribers, and now I think last time I checked, you're at like 13.
I don't even. Yeah, it's grown. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you've passed me, which, you know, you completely deserve it, because I mean, your videos are just amazing. I look forward to them every week, or when you drop them a couple times a week. And I have friends that I've put onto your videos that they tell me all the time that they're obsessed with watching your channel. So
that's amazing. Yeah, dude, I love it. I've been doing it. I've been doing videos for right at 1.5 years now, just a little over 1.5 years, and yeah, it's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun. Love it.
I think I want to say I started, for me, I'd probably say it's been about 5 years, 5 or 6 years. I had a big growth when I started the Arcade 1-Up stuff behind me. Yeah. And that was never really the stuff that I came into YouTube wanting to do. So I know that if I just stayed doing those videos that I could grow even more. But I just like doing, you know, just like you, the things that you love to collect and stuff, which is kind of like a niche market. But, you know, I love doing that kind of stuff. So obviously you said that you started about 1.5 years ago with YouTube, but you've been popping on Instagram before that, from what I can tell. How did you first like get big on Instagram?
Yeah, so my friend has a couple channels on YouTube, pretty decent size. He probably has close to 80,000, 100,000 subscribers, and he's the one that really like pushed me to do YouTube. Like, I never even had it in my mind to do this, but I've always had this game room. So he came over to the house one day and was like, what is this game room? I'm like, dude, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I like to collect the stuff from my childhood. And he's like, why aren't you on YouTube? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought I wasn't watching a lot of YouTube back then. YouTube is still like, I thought it was like, funny cat videos and stuff like that. And yeah, he kind of turned me onto that. And then before I started, he said, you should start an Instagram page first, to kind of build at least a little bit of a following to push people to watch your YouTube later. So it's not just you and your wife watching your YouTube channel. Right. So that's how
I know that struggle.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I started it. And then Instagram really took off. I just don't think there were a lot of people that were taking like pictures quite like I was taking. I have these, I don't know if you can see these neons in the background.
Yep. That's actually, those neons are how I figured out that the picture from Complex was your game room because of those neon signs. I noticed them in the background.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I do everything with my phone. Like my videos are with my phone, my pictures, everything. And it kind of made this cool like look in the background with those neons. And I started taking pictures. That was kind of like the highlight of my pictures that, like kind of like you said, people noticed through those neons. So I just started to do that I kind of like forgot about YouTube. I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this because it was working. I grew pretty quick on there. And then but then I got to a certain point. I think I started Instagram like October, and then that following March was when I did my first video. So 6 months later, I did my first YouTube video. And it did help because, I don't know how long it takes most people to get to like, 100 subscribers. I mean, you're when you first start making videos and you have 20 subscribers, it's weird to subscribe to somebody. Like, I don't know, this person's probably weird, So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like for just people in general, like they may find your video, but people are weird. But I think we're all kind of like this. And if you go to their channel and see that they have like 100 subscribers, you may really not be inclined to subscribe to them. But if you see that they have 100,000 subscribers, then you're more likely to click subscribe, which is, it's a little weird, but I think we all are kind of like that in a way.
Yeah. It's a validation thing. I mean, it's like if you went to a restaurant and it's like no one's ever been here and there's no reviews, it's like, I'm a little leery. But but since I did have the Instagram, a decent following, I think I got to 1,000 subscribers within like 2 months or something like that. So that really helped. But then
I've been trying to do that for years on Instagram.
Oh yeah, yeah. But then once I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, it really flatlined. Like for a long, like I might gain 2 subscribers or a subscriber a day, and I was like, that's sweet, cool. It just is really slow. Instagram was a lot quicker at the beginning, and then YouTube, as it's just a grind. It's just a grind.
Yeah, well, I think part of that is Instagram. Mostly everything takes up maybe like a second of someone's time because they see a picture, they double tap and move on. Whereas YouTube, you have to invest, 4 or 5, sometimes even 20, 30 minutes into a video.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how did Instagram blow up for you? Were you using like specific hashtags for stuff, or it was just people started coming?
Yeah, so a couple different things. Hashtags were huge. I know that sounds crazy, but I would like dig deep, and I can nerd out on this kind of stuff because I love like analytics and stuff like that. But I was getting, more than 50% of the views or engagement, that's what they call it on Instagram, was from hashtags. So that's how I got a lot of new people to kind of see what I was making, the content I was making, the pictures I was taking. And then what happened, what really blew up was I got a couple huge shout outs features. So there's a page called the Nintendo World. That was the first one that they used my picture and just said like, Retro Rick's, game room. What do you think? Scale from 1 to 10, something like that.
Right.
And I think I was at 1,200 followers, and I jumped to 3,000 followers in a night. And I was like,
wow.
What just happened? So I definitely saw that helped. So then I started to kind of like try to talk to other, a lot of other pages that was their deal. Like they curate pictures of other people's, content. Yeah. So somehow Complex that I wasn't even following that page, And I was told, in the first couple minutes, hey, I don't know if you know this, but Complex just put up your picture. And I was like, what? Who's that? And then I looked and I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And then that one really helped. So yeah, I mean, the power of a shout out is pretty incredible. That's kind of how my, and I know we're not, we're going to talk a lot more about, retro stuff that we love, but it's just kind of part of our deal is, even with YouTube, I think I hit 3,000 subscribers in like the beginning of the year. And then I got one shout out that bumped me up to 4,000 in like 2 days. And that's kind of where the momentum has shifted. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the algorithm works or anything, but that definitely helped. So I hear people say all the time, shout outs don't help. I'm like, if you get a shout out from a channel that is genuinely like, hey guys, check out the toy room, really cool content, and they're a validated channel that gets thousands of views, it helps for sure.
Exactly. I mean, Nintendo Collecting just shouted you out, and he just hit was 100,000.
Yeah.
Even if 2% of those people subscribe to you, that's still a decent amount of people.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So how and when did you first start getting into collecting?
Okay. When I was a kid, like when I was really little, I have always been. I come from a line of collectors. My grandpa collected those really expensive trains. Lionel, I think,
like the model
Lionel?
train sets.
Yeah. He collected those, and I would go to my grandpa's house, and it was all in his basement. He lived in New York, so I would go and just be like in awe of these trains going around the room. And then my dad has always collected things, and then at an early age, I started collecting basketball, baseball cards, stuff like that. So I've always been a little like OCD about stuff like that. And I would get really into collecting basketball cards. I'd get really into collecting Sega Genesis games. And then it just, you do that for a while and you look around, you're like, oh my gosh, how did I get all this stuff? So, yeah. And then I think a big portion of it when I got older, because I kind of heard your story. I watched one of your videos at one point about how you started collecting because you're working at Toys R Us or something. And you saw your old Power Rangers, like stuff that you played.
The Legacy Megazord, and that started from there and then just spiraled out of control.
Yeah. So it's very similar to me. And then I've always bought and resold. It's kind of like one of my like niches on my channel is I've always done it. And I did that all through college to basically have food. Like I would go to Goodwill and buy 4 games for $8 and sell them for 30 to eat for the next 3 days. Like that's how I did it. That's how I got by. And then, I did it more as like a necessity. And then about 6 years ago, I was telling my friend about it. We were eating lunch and he was like, what do you mean you did that? I'm like, let's go to a Goodwill. I hadn't been to a Goodwill in 8 years. And I was like, let's go to Goodwill. And I went to Goodwill with him and we found 2 games that were like $2 each and they were worth like 30. And we brought them to a game store, straight from Goodwill to a game store, and I got $30 cash. And he was like, nice. What in the world? And then that's what sparked it for me again. I'm like, oh man, I forgot about this. And then, so much of it is I love collecting this stuff, but a part of it is like the most fun is like the thrill of the hunt, like actually going out there and doing that. So that's kind of how I got back into it. But what about you? Just the Power Ranger, the Legacy?
Yeah, so that started like my toy collecting craze, and I've always had, retro video games sitting around from my childhood, but I never like really collected them like that. But then once I started toy collecting, that kind of just led into video game collecting, and I went into a closet and realized I have all these retro games just sitting around here, and I ended up displaying them and then caught the bug for that. So it's been that since about like 2011, I want to say. Then I'd recently just been getting into like all things retro from VHS tapes. I just really started getting into that.
That's a black hole, man, because I'm into it too.
Luckily I've been finding them for super cheap.
Really, yesterday I went to Goodwill, and as soon as I walked in, there was a whole row of Pokemon VHS. Like someone dumped off their whole collection. I was like, dang it! I bought them all, of course.
Nice. Or are they just like the episodes of the anime?
Yep.
Nice. But I'm not gonna lie, how you were saying about like going to thrift stores and reselling stuff, you actually kind of got me into doing that a little bit recently, mainly because of the whole virus and everything going on. I've been unemployed for a while, so I've actually been doing that as a means for some money. Because normally when I'm in the thrift store, if I find a game that I already own or something like that, I always just leave it behind for somebody else to grab. But now I've been seeing games like Mario Karts or whatever and taking them to my local stores and, flipping them for double, triple the price. So
Yeah.
I've been getting into a little bit of that lately, and you have one of my friends who watches you. She thinks she's gonna be like a millionaire doing this stuff. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope she does.
Well, the funny thing is, she always tells me if I find stuff to give it to her. I'm like, why am I gonna give it to you? If I find it, I'm gonna just keep it for myself.
Nah,
But
you're gonna make the money.
yeah,
That's hilarious.
for sure. So let's see. I think we knocked out most of these questions. Yeah, I mean, that was basically the gist of all, like, about you and how you got started. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
I was gonna say, just we're talking about all these different things that we collect. What are some things that you don't collect that people would think like, oh, James is into these types of things. I'm sure he collects these, because I get asked all the time. They're like, or I'll say something about. So, for instance, I'm not into Star Wars. Like, I don't know almost anything about Star Wars. And anytime I pick up something in a video, I don't know how much live stuff you do, but most of my stuff is live, or I say live hunting. So I'm out looking, and I'm like, I pick up this Star Wars thing, and I'm blank. I don't know what it is or what it goes to. People are like, oh my gosh, take that man's retro card. He doesn't know anything. I'm like, I don't know Star Wars. Like, I'm not gonna lie. So, like, what are there things that you're not really into?
It's tough. I mean, pretty much with everything retro, even if I'm not into it, like, for instance, like Star Trek. I'm not into Star Trek. I never have been, but I still know the characters and whatnot. And it's like that for most retro stuff. Even if I'm not into it, I still know the stuff. And it's all circumstantial. Like, if somebody donates a Star Trek collection to me, if it's free, I'll probably take it. But I'm not going to go out of my way at the like, if I see it at the thrift or whatever, I'll probably just leave it behind. I don't know if there's anything like specific. I mean, I guess like DVDs. I'm not into DVD collecting. I'm always Blu-ray or VHS, unless it's a movie that is not on Blu-ray that I can't find anywhere else. Then I'll pick up the DVD.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's all circumstantial, but pretty much all of it I'll collect. One thing that I don't have in my collection that I should, but I sold it off years ago before I started collecting, was Pokemon cards. I had all the original Pokemon cards. And Yu-Gi-Oh as well, and I dumped them all because at the time I wasn't into collecting. I just wanted money.
Are you trying to collect now? Are you trying to collect them now?
Not really. Like, I'm not going out looking for them. Like, I'm not on eBay hunting for them or whatever. But if I come across them at the thrift or something, I'm definitely picking them up if they're the right price.
Yeah, I'm going to show you this. I got duped today, so check this out.
Oh man!
Because I just started. I saw there's another channel that's similar to ours called Phoenix Resale. And he just found a base set Charizard, which, that's like, that's the thing, right? And I just got this today.
Somebody get you with the fake?
Well, it's not that it's fake. It's a reprint from 2016. It's still worth like what I paid for it, but he didn't tell me that. Whatever.
Nah.
Anyway,
Man.
but yeah, I get it. Yeah. I just started to kind of getting it back into Pokemon stuff, but like, my stuff that I don't do Star Wars. I don't do older, like, early 80s stuff, like G.I. Joe, Transformers. I don't really do anything with Transformers. Like, people will ask
I'm kind of in that same boat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So what's your favorite game console, retro and new? I don't know if you're into the newer stuff.
I mean, I have a Switch. I don't have a PS4 or Xbox One, so I would say Switch. Especially, I'm assuming you saw the announcement today. Yeah, that's really the first day one buy I'm gonna get is Mario 64. That collection is gonna be.
Yeah, I went to go pre-order it, but they weren't available yet in GameStop system. So hopefully tomorrow I can go pre-order it.
Yeah, so Switch would be modern, and then retro for me. I really go in between Super Nintendo and N64. I have two different like connections to them, but the Super Nintendo I just think has probably the best game selection, and then N64 was the first console that I started buying my own games. So I kind of have that connection of like getting super excited about mowing lawns all summer to
Right.
get these two games. So I have different connections to both. I think N64 probably didn't age as well as the Super Nintendo, but yeah, probably those. What about you?
So Super Nintendo, hands down, my favorite console of all time. And then for current gen, it's got to be the Xbox One. But ironically, for next gen, I plan to get the PS5 over the Xbox. What are they calling it? Series X. Um, it just feels like a lot of more of the same from Xbox. It just looks like a different version of the Xbox One X. The interface looks the same. Everything looks the same. So I like how Sony for the PS5 has this crazy design for it. I'm a really big fan of that. But Super Nintendo for me, you have right there on the TV behind you one of my top 5 games of all time, Donkey Kong
Okay.
Country. I love that game. The soundtrack for that game is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Super Mario World might be my favorite Mario of all time, at least 2D Mario. Um, Sunshine might be my favorite 3D Mario, which I'm super excited for that on the collection that's coming
Oh
out.
man, it looks crispy on there too. It looks
Oh
so
man, it
good.
looks even better than Galaxy, which is strange. I don't know
Mhm.
why. I don't know what they did to it, but just the visuals for that look better than Galaxy. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but
Yeah, I love it.
um, what else do we have here? Um, so what year were you born? You're 80s or 90s?
87.
Okay, I'm
87.
93.
Okay.
So you got to grow up right in the thick of the 90s. Like you were old enough to really comprehend it.
Yeah, yeah,
Myself, I
for
was
sure.
kind of like growing up in it, as a kid, not really fully understanding it. Like I comprehended more of the 2000s. Um,
Well,
but
that's
I
cool.
loved it.
That's cool that you like, because I mean the Super Nintendo came out in like 90, right?
Yeah, so
1990. Do you have
yeah,
older cousins, older brothers,
it
sisters?
was weird. So I basically growing up played whatever my older brother had, like whatever games he had, that's what I played. So I distinctly remember having the Super Nintendo all the way even into the 2000s, and we played it all the time. And we had the 64 as well, but I don't know. I have more fond memories playing the Super Nintendo. I don't know why that is. Um, but regardless of that, I don't know. I've always been to all this retro stuff. I don't know why. Even now, I still love the 90s and the 80s. There's something about it that's different than now.
Mm-hmm.
Nostalgia. Um, so what is your favorite movie, or I guess like maybe top 3 movies? Since you don't like Star Wars, what are you into?
My favorite movie of all time is Back to the Future. Like,
Hold on. It lagged a little bit. What was that?
Back to the Future
Oh,
definitely is my
yes.
favorite. I
Same
mean,
here.
one, two, and three. I don't hate any of them. I like all three of them. It's something about them that I can watch over and over again, and I never get sick of them. I throw them a lot, especially with editing and stuff. I always have a movie on in the background.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like comforting. Like I just love those three movies for some reason. Um, Man, what other movies do I love? I mean, I like the
Yeah,
Turtle
Back
movies.
to the Future, I think is number one for me as well. They just recently announced like a whole 4K box set that they're doing. I think October, I want to say somewhere
Oh,
around
nice.
there. I'm probably gonna pick it up. It's like $80, but it comes with some bonus stuff and everything too. So it's worth it.
Sweet. Yeah. Yeah, Back to the Future, man. And what's funny is my wife doesn't really like it. It's,
Oh
and
man,
she loves like sci-fi, but she just doesn't like it. It's so interesting.
Hmm.
It's not for her.
Actually, speaking of Back to the Future, I don't know if you saw my video on this, but I have a replica comic,
Oh, that's awesome.
so
Where'd you
that's
get that
cool.
at?
Somebody made it on Etsy, I believe. One of my friends gave it to me as a wedding gift, which I still haven't got married yet, ironically. Now it's not gonna be up, is it? Because I was supposed to get married back in March, but virus.
Wow.
But yeah, I think someone made it on Etsy and they like hand drew everything in what is it, like Adobe Illustrator or something like that, and
Okay.
completely like recreated every single page of the comic because they tracked down that original comic. It's really cool, really detailed.
Wow.
Um, so Back to the Future is ironically both of our favorite movies. What? Huh, so why haven't you ever got into Star Wars? Just no interest in it, or?
Yeah, I didn't grow up with it. I didn't grow. Most of the stuff that I like now is because I grew up with it in some way or fashion.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
kind of like. why some people would argue, why do you watch old movies? Why don't you watch new movies? Why don't you play new games? It's like, I don't know. I just have this connection to these things. Not that I don't ever watch new stuff, but it just seems like a whole other world that I would have to like learn and like get into.
Yeah,
And I'm already so busy.
I'm just getting around to watching the Harry Potter movies for the first time. I saw them like I think the first and second one when they first came out, but I was kind of young at the time. So now I'm kind of trying to rewatch them, and I don't know. I don't really understand the hype, but everyone tells me it's kind of just one of those things where you had to watch it like at the time to fully understand it.
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean, they're not bad movies.
Yeah, I was late to Harry Potter too because that's ironically my wife's favorite. She loves Harry Potter, so I watch it with her just because I know she likes it, and I've gotten to appreciate it for sure. There's a lot of like intertwined story plots and all that stuff, so it is pretty interesting, but it's not my favorite.
What's really getting me into it is I've been visiting Universal and Islands of Adventure, the theme parks, a lot recently. And they have the whole Harry Potter lands, and the Harry Potter rides are some of my favorite rides of all time. And that really just got me interested to watch the movie. So I went out and bought the box set and been watching that. So they're interesting. I still don't get like the crazy fandom for it, but they're not bad movies by any means.
Sure.
So moving on from movies, what's your favorite TV show or one of your favorite TV shows and cartoon?
Are we talking retro?
Anything. Yeah, anything. Okay. Anything.
Mm-hmm. My favorite show, probably one of my favorite shows is Sherlock. I love the newer Sherlock that came out that they're not doing anymore, or right now they're not. I love that. I love all the 80s or the 80s 90s sitcoms. Like Seinfeld's probably. I mean, I know these are probably very generic answers, but I mean, Seinfeld is our go-to at night. We'll watch 2-3 episodes of Seinfeld.
I've actually never seen an episode of Seinfeld.
Dude, you need to. It's really good. Mm-hmm. It's really good. Obviously, you've heard. But any of the sitcom stuff, like Growing Pains, I really like Growing Pains. I love The Wonder Years. I loved Home Improvement. All of that stuff was like right in my childhood. And I actually have a huge DVD collection. I'm looking at it right now. It's way too big. But yes, I love those like feel good sitcoms from like the 90s. I'm not like a big Full House. Like when it gets a little like cheese, I'm not really into. I like the kind of like.
I've always liked Full House. And the newer version on Netflix is actually really good. Fuller House.
I've watched most of those. But I'm into more like real story-based stuff, not like the funny stuff. But I don't know. Yeah.
No. What about a cartoon?
Cartoon. I actually posted it on Instagram. I love Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold. I love. Doug was like that show that I watched with my dad. Like we watched it all the time together, and Doug was there was always like a principle to learn or something at the end of it. But it would be like, well, what did you learn, Rick? Well, I learned that not to be scared about this, stuff like that. So I really like Doug. I did not like Ren and Stimpy. I was never in Ren and Stimpy. I just didn't like it. I didn't really like All Real Monsters. I just didn't like it. Rocko's Modern Life.
They're a little strange.
Yeah, I liked Rocko's Modern Life. I was more of a Nick kid, so I just never really watched Cartoon Network. So when people talk about Dexter's Laboratory or all those, I'm like, I don't know. I never watched them.
Yeah, I was always both, flipping back and forth between Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network. So all of those I've watched growing up, and I love all of them. But I think my favorite cartoon, and it's a little bit more modern because I think it came out, I want to say like 07, 08. It's Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know have you ever seen that?
I actually have not, but I've heard amazing things. I know. Me and some friends last night talked about this, and they're like, Rick, you haven't seen it? I'm like, I haven't. Well, here's the thing too, and this is going to expose me right now, and you can tell me too. I don't get to watch TV or play games very much, like very little, like job, and I have kids, and it takes me, again, I don't know how most people's videos are. it takes me about 8 to 10 hours to edit my Monday video. You know, I have music behind all of it. I do all the price stuff where I'm having to put in all the information. They're about 25 minutes long, and no clip is longer than a minute. So it's like it takes me a long time. So once family, work, editing a video, dude, I'm spent, man.
I get it. I get it.
I don't have time to like. It's like, man, you must play video games all day in that room. I'm like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, complete
sure.
opposite. No, I get it. And not only that, then you're always in your videos pulling up, random commercials from the 90s and other random clips that nobody else would even know where to find.
It takes time, dude. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, the time that you put in. I mean, luckily for me, my videos are pretty simple. I don't have to kind of like do all that deep diving. So for me, depending on the video, it may take maybe an hour or so.
Okay.
But again, I'm not doing all that. I don't have to do all the deep diving that you do. But I mean, your editing and the work you put in shows in all your videos because I mean, it's top-notch stuff that you're putting out.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's why you're growing as fast as you are. Is people can see the work that you're putting in, and it really it does show in the quality of your videos. I think that's it for my questions. You're a busy man. I don't want to take up too much of your time. We can keep going if you want. Just talk about random stuff, or we can end it here. It's completely up to you.
Well, I was going to ask you, just like for your videos, you talked a little bit about like the arcade. I'm always interested in. I'm trying to learn from other people. You probably have an idea where you want your channel to be or to go at the beginning. Has it veered off any from what you originally thought? This is what I want it to be, and now it's this.
At the moment, it hasn't. It veered off back when the arcade 1-up stuff first took off, because that's once I don't know. I kind of just got sucked into it, and when I saw how many views I was getting, how many subscribers I was getting, because when I started the arcade 1-up things, I think I had like 2,500 subscribers, and that was all off of my toy reviews and other videos that I made. Then I made a random video about the arcade 1-up because I thought it was cool and nobody covered it, so I just wanted to make a video about it.
Wow.
It started taking off, and that basically became my life. I became like obsessed with it, and everything I was doing was just arcade 1-up left and right, which was helping the channel, and it was making it grow. But at the end of the day, it's not really what I wanted to do. And now I feel like so many people have come into the arcade 1-up community that I just kind of got tired of it, and so many other people doing the same videos and stuff. I kind of stepped away from arcade 1-up a little bit. I cover like the big news, but now I try to go back to my reviews and my thrift hauls and everything like that. And it's not helping me grow as quick as I could, but at the end of the day, I'd rather enjoy the videos that I'm making as if it's about the topics that I'm making them that I want to make, versus doing something for other people just to get views and whatnot, if that makes any sense.
Well, and I think you feel that after a certain point. It's like the accomplishment of like getting more views. It's like, okay, that's cool, and it's cool for a time, and then it's like at the end of the day, I don't really care about this though. It's like I always think about that with a lot of, because if you, especially in retro gaming, because you're not just retro, you do some retro games, but you do toys and stuff like that. I actually want to do more toy stuff. Game stuff, I've become a gaming channel, but I want to be known, and I try to use it in my verbiage, like, or even my game hunting videos. I on purpose will shift to a toy or a movie, and I'll show a clip of that toy because I want to continue that like bridge of like, I'm not just gaming, I want to do. But right now, I have a current series where I'm doing that, like basically building a game collection for $10, and it's just I'm getting views, so it's like it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard.
No, yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
I know
that I can tell that you kind of want to do other things other than the $10 game challenge. Week after week after week. Especially looking at some of your older videos when you used to do reviews on the toys and stuff. Most of your audience has come from the $10 game challenge. So if you start to do toy videos, you may not get as many views, but at the end of the day, if that's what you want to do and you're actually like really happy making that video and you're having fun with it, that's all that matters.
Yeah. I'm intentionally shifting some things within videos. that people could see and not see, but it's starting to kind of veer that way. So because yeah, I do love more than just the games. So yeah, I'm always curious about that because so when I started, oh man, I had this grand plan. So I basically made a whole year out, and I basically wanted to cover anything that was nostalgic that was popular that week. So like Mighty Ducks is turning 25 years old.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I was thinking like, man, that might be. I love this stuff, and it also might, catch because it's like maybe people are talking about Home Improvements turning 30 this week.
I remember. I think you did was a Home Alone video for that series.
Oh yeah, I did Home Alone basically during Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I did that on Instagram, and it did really well. I mean, I think it got like 10,000 views in the first day, and then on YouTube it got like 800 views. Like I guess no one cares. So it's like you can't figure it out. You can't figure it out. But then once
I mean, if I were to drop an arcade one up video like right now or whatever, I'd get a couple hundred, maybe a few thousand views. And if I drop a random toy review on some Pixar stuff that I found, it might get like 200 views, which sucks, but I have way more fun making the Pixar video knowing it's not going to get any views. I'm still enjoying myself. So it's just balance you have to find.
Yeah, totally.
Cool, man. So I guess last couple of things. You are where in Arkansas? You're located?
I'm in Arkansas. So not many people know about Arkansas, but that's where I'm at. Where are you?
That's why you find so many great things because it's a small town. Me, I'm right in the middle of South Florida, right around that Miami area. So it's like so many people are here, and now the thrifting scene is really caught on. So I could do like a month of thrifting, and maybe only 2 or 3 days I'll find something. Which it may be the same in your area. I feel like your area's just got the gold, man. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. People say it. I don't know if you saw my video I did last week with another game hunter, Tendo. He's a toy.
Yeah, I did. Where you guys hit the bins?
Yeah, so we went and we really didn't find anything. Like we went to 4 Goodwills. I think we went to 5 Goodwills, but we only filmed 3, and we found nothing. And I was like, this is it. Like this is Goodwill. But the thing is, my job, I travel all day long. I'm traveling to different in and out of these cities. And I always schedule my meetings. I give myself like a 30-minute buffer on each end. So I'll pop into a Goodwill or a thrift store, buy it before the meeting. And I do that all day, every single day. And out of 100 trips, I find 2 things. It is
usually how it goes.
But the thing is, people don't see that. I don't film. And some people like that. Some people, will comment. They're like, I wish you'd do the whole hunt. I like to feel like they're, it's like I want to find it with you. You're just kind of showing you're kind of showing the highlight. But then so many people would be like, dude, this is boring. You're not looking. Yeah,
that's part of the reason why I really don't do thrift videos, like live hunting in the thrift. I just kind of show my haul whenever I get one because most of my time would be like filming. 9 times out of 10, I'm not finding anything. So it'd be a lot of wasted film. Like nobody wants to see you, constantly walking into a store. Oh, look, I didn't find anything.
That's how I see it. And then some people disagree. Some people think, no, man, I think it's more exciting to be able to be live with you to actually, because again, I find the thing, and then once I find it, then I film. Then I'll be like, all right, so I just found this. But again, it's YouTube. You're not going to be able to please everybody.
That's the one thing that you'll never, regardless of what you do, you'll never be able to please everybody. Someone's always going to, have something to say. Yeah, man, if you're ever in like the South Florida, Central Florida area, we got to get together. Orlando, anywhere between there.
Yeah, I was recently in Destin. I know that's probably super. How far is that from you? 5, 6?
No. Further than that, because that was that's when you were at the beach, right? Yeah, that's all the way up there. That's easily 12 hours or more. Florida's a really huge state, yeah, because that was all the way north and then all the way west on like the Panhandle, I think they call it. I just recently in Orlando, I just found this antique store. It's actually really cool. It's kind of like the one you went to. I don't remember what video you did it in. This was a couple months back. You were at this antique place that had
Okay.
all these different little shops and stuff. What did you get there? Some comics and some cups and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So I found a store similar to that when I was up in Orlando, and I'm gonna go back there next week. And they got so many cool stuff. I'll probably end up filming some of it. But they even have Disney props that were used in like the Disney theme parks that are for sale there too, which is absolutely crazy.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I'm into all that stuff. I have a pretty big cup and glass collection. Like, I just don't have any. I don't have any space I don't know what your room looks like, but I don't have any space in here anymore. Like,
well, right. I'm in a temporary living situation, so this is like my temporary room because I'm living with my fiance and her family until we get married, which again was supposed to happen in March. Now it's happening next year. So if you check some of my older room tours, you can see a majority of my collection. I had a ton of action figures on display. Now those are all in boxes in the garage. And this is kind of everything I've picked up in the last couple years that I have behind me here. But yeah, I mean, I've been running out of space for years. I always kind of just get creative and stick a shelf somewhere. And like even like right next to me, I have stuff hanging. Like this is pretty low. I'm sitting pretty low. I have just stuff hanging everywhere. If there's an empty space on the wall, I can find space for something.
Yeah. So. My wife's rule is anytime I add something to this room, I'm supposed to take something out of this room.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
Oh man, well this is definitely fun. We definitely gotta do this again one of these days.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for taking the time. I know you're a busy man, so we've been wanting to do this for a while. We're finally getting around to it. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I appreciate you. I'm a huge fan of your channel. Like I said, I've been hooked. I watch every single week, or even when you do twice a week, I'm watching that. So yeah, you guys make sure you follow him on Instagram, on YouTube. Everything will be in the description down below. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, same. I've been watching you for a while since our McDonald's video. Yeah, yep. And I do. I love all the same things, and I really do. You more focus on toy stuff, so I can appreciate that, and I want so badly to do more stuff like that. So hopefully I do.
Yeah,
but yeah, man.
Sure, man. I mean, one of these days we're gonna have to work something out. I'll fly over there, or you fly here, or something, and we'll do some kind of toy hunt or something in person one of these days for sure. We got to make that happen once this virus kind of slows down.
Sure, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So I mean, the flights are super cheap now. I could probably fly to you for like $3.
It's seriously, it's so wild.
So, yeah, man. All right, man. Well, you have a good night. Look forward. You're dropping a video when, Monday?
Every Monday. All right,
cool.
I haven't missed this year yet. I haven't missed a Monday this year, which has been a grind. But
yeah, I used to do videos like every single day. Yeah.
Oh,
so
gosh.
I know the grind. I slowed it down though. Now it's kind of just whenever I pick something up or whatever. I don't really have a schedule. It's just easier that way.
Sure.
But doing a video every day is definitely time consuming.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. So. Yeah. All right, man. Well, you have a good night, man. I appreciate you, and we'll keep in touch.
Sounds good, bro.
All right. Take care.
Alright you guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, huge shout out to Retro Rick for doing the collab with me. This was such fun. I'm such a huge fan of Rick, and it's just amazing to do these type of collabs, which I don't really do too often, but I definitely want to do some more of. So let me know down in the comments who you want to see me collab with next. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Be sure to follow me and Retro Rick on Instagram and YouTube. All the links are down in the description below. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. So as always, guys, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.